Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Probably wait a little bit for people to join.
Yeah, we can yap in the meantime.
Yeah.
For people who are seeing this or who are watching the replay, that's all Chris and I do. When Chris and I hang out, we just yap.
Yeah, but some of the things we cannot say in public.
No, it's like a
No,
bi-weekly yap
ma'am.
session.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Let us know if our volume is okay, if we're too quiet or too loud. Could you imagine?
I know.
Talking everyone's ear off.
Just shouting at everyone. Are we getting so many hellos?
Hello. How's everybody today? What is the time where you guys are at? Rachel and I are in EST.
Yeah, we're in the same time zone.
Same city.
I know. Like, we're not far.
Yeah.
One day we need to coordinate a stream where like we're in the same room. Like, imagine that. That would be fun.
Dude, just come over.
I know, right?
Yeah. Okay. 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. France. Oh my God. Okay, this is kind of a good time. I was worried that it would be bad for the Europeans, but I'm glad.
Yeah, we got some people. 6, 7. Denmark is 7. I'm learning and remembering so much. Like, because now I'm like, oh yeah, that's how far. Usually I have it all in my head, like where the time zones are at.
You would have time zones in your head. I don't know.
Honestly, well, since I moved back home from the West Coast, it's like gone out of my head. But now this is a reminder.
Sometimes I forget like what Pacific is. It's always three hours behind us.
Yeah. Where in the Caribbean are you from, Zaria? I gotta know as a fellow Caribbean. Ooh, South Africa. We got someone joining from South Africa. This is awesome.
This is a global stream, you guys.
I know, right? Let's see. Oh, Trinidad. Okay, I'm Guyana, so we got similar vibes. Cool. Yeah. Today I got a spam email like from some like Guyana thing, and I was like, I'm getting tailored spam emails.
Guyana,
like the country.
Oh my God. I heard Diana. I was like, Diana? What do you mean, Princess Diana? That would be so crazy.
Okay, it's 12 p.m. for
good. Okay, wait, it's like such a good time.
We got a mix, which is good. I feel like between 1 and 3 is always the places at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris, for having me. I guess I should introduce myself. I just came on your channel like everywhere.
We're 4 minutes in, so I don't know if all of you guys know Rachel. I'm sure you do. But okay, so actually what's so funny is I have been watching Rachel's channel for so long. So I feel like I started out as your fan.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I'm famous. I know, but yeah. Yeah, Rachel, introduce yourself just in case anyone doesn't know you.
Yeah. Well, my name is Rachel. I also have a YouTube channel. It's called Rachel Writes. And I write on there and I make videos about it. And I really need to post something. I've been working on this really cool video where my twin sister and I write like the Bronte sisters, which is like, I've been teasing it. So like only people who have been on live streams know that information, that's what it's about.
Oh my God, but that's lore. Okay.
In the next it should come out in the next few weeks. But yeah, I'm also in Toronto. So
slay.
Chris and I love to hang out and go to coffee shops and about publishing.
Yeah. We always go to the coffee shop and we're like, let's work. And then we never work.
Then we don't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's so funny. that you called you and Sarah the Bronte sisters because you guys are giving Bronte sisters.
Yeah, well, because we were like, when I was coming up with a video, because Sarah loves history, so we're coming up with video ideas. So I was like, why don't we start like a historical writing series? So it just made sense to go with like the sisters, like Bronte sisters first.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because we didn't end up picking the ones that you would expect us to have chosen. So and there's kind of some interesting like twin related lore. Oh my gosh, someone says love both of y'all. Aw. We
The
love
streamer
that.
still do the heart?
I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't do the heart.
Oh,
I swear. Okay, wait. I was on a stream. I don't remember who it was with, Lynn or someone. And like StreamYard did the little hearts when you did a heart.
That's
Why is it
actually
not doing
evil. What happened? Did they change it to the Gen Z heart? Remember when we were talking about how we can't do this? Like, what is that?
This one's cursed. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, what's funny is I was at the Eaton Center this last week or something, and I was meeting, or I went to like a signing at the Eaton Center Indigo to meet Shalini, whose Romantasy debut just came out.
Oh, sick.
It's very good. You guys should read it. It's called This Monster of Mine. And I stayed with Shalini like during her signing. Like I was talking about publishing with her. And then these group of girls from out of town, one of the girls recognized me. And she's like,
oh my God.
She came up to the table to look at Shalini's book, and then she saw me there, and she was like, I watch your videos. It was so cute. I've never been recognized.
You got your fame moment.
Yeah, it was so sweet. So shout out to you. I won't say your name just in case you don't want me to say your name in public, but I appreciate you saying hi and taking a picture.
Cute. That's like the first time remember the first time we met in person, and then
you also got recognized in public. Yeah.
Also,
that was so funny.
Yeah, I see Gia in the comments said your nails are so pretty, and I don't know if you're.
Oh my God! Yeah, I didn't even see. Those are
these
cute.
Are them.
Neon,
so cute, right? Love. Well, I was downtown because my sister works in publishing downtown, and so I met her after work for dinner, and then we were just killing time, so we went to Winners, and there was an OPI polish on sale for $4. And she was like, we already have this color. The thing about me and my sister, we are obsessed with nail polish and writing. So we have two obsessions.
You guys really are the same person.
Yeah, no. So we've got like a giant collection. It's probably like over 300 bottles. So she was like, we already have this color. And I was like, no, we don't. It's a completely different color. It's like 2 shades different. We got it, and none of us we can't regret it because like so cute. It's
no, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Chris, was that Clammy?
Clemmy, probably.
Clemmy's not in the room right now.
Oh.
Yeah, she's downstairs. She was like she's obsessed with sunbathing. So
that's
she like sits she sits by the backyard door and like sits with the sun.
That's cute.
Yeah, so we'll probably do a little bit of Q&A for a bit, and then depending on how everyone feels, we can do some sprints. I'm so behind on my book, like it's not even funny. Oh my God, I know my agent is sick of me.
Aren't you like 100,000 months overdue? The draft, like
I hit 100K. Mind you, I started writing this book last year, so this book should be done by now.
Listen, that's so fast though for 100K. Like, dude,
I don't know. This is coming from the girl who literally writes like the 300K books.
Oh my God, listen,
Rachel's books are crazy, you guys.
Listen, I feel like, you know what? Like, you've been doing a whole bunch of publishing work, like that. That is hard work.
I was editing Local Heavens, which, guys, apparently after you get a book deal, you gotta still edit the book.
That's a scam.
No, I'm just kidding. That's how it is. That's how it is. yeah, if you guys have any writing or publishing related questions, we'll do that for a bit. Guys, you will want to ask Rachel writing questions because she's a trove of knowledge.
I'm also on sub right now, so.
Oh my god, T. Yeah, I don't know if you were making that public. Rachel's on sub, you guys.
I am on sub.
Yeah. Ooh. That was like such a 2025 plot twist. Rachel going on sub.
It's still a plot twist. Listen.
Yeah.
It was not in my cards, but it happened. Ellie asked a question. How do you motivate yourself to write difficult chapters?
Ooh. You want to answer that first?
Listen, I don't, okay? I feel like, listen, I know in the art space, people will be like, motivation is a scam, inspiration is a scam.
Motivation's a scam?
Like, you just have to work hard. That? Well, I just feel like it's like the, on the grind kind of culture, especially in art. They're like, forget about inspiration. You don't need motivation. I'm sorry. I have very little willpower.
Oh, yeah. So it's like the rise and grind, like.
I can't do that. I am weak and I don't want to do that. And I think that's okay. So when I don't want to motivate myself to write difficult chapters, I will usually just reread the same part over and over that I've written and just like hope that something happens, to be honest. Like that's kind of where that's
vibes writing, man.
Literally, the opening of my book, I'm like, I haven't been stuck. It's just like, it's the first chapter of a book. So you have to figure out a whole bunch of things. So I just take it slow and I just like let it be. And I've been reading a lot and just chilling and not trying to worry that much. Like that's, maybe you have like a more like
no, I mean, I feel like I honestly, like, if you don't have publishing deadlines, I feel like that's a really healthy way to write, because I think if you like sit at your desk and just hate what you're looking at, you're going to associate that negative feeling with writing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with vibes-based writing. And that's how I used to be before I decided to pursue traditional publishing. Never pursue traditional publishing, guys. No, I'm kidding. I think so when I'm stuck with a difficult chapter, I try to identify why it's difficult, because there's a reason why it's hard to write, and I have to figure out like, okay, why is it difficult? And like sometimes it's because something's wrong in the plot, and so I have to go back, read what I've written so far. I have to think of the plot threads. I'm literally replotting my entire ending for the book that I'm writing right now, because something was so wrong with this ending, and I was like, there's no way that this draft has to be 150K. Like, what do you mean I still have so much to write? And so I was like, so the issue that I was having with that, like with this particular draft, is that I had to figure out like the plot threads again. But sometimes the reason that the draft is hard is just because I'm not having fun. Like there's not enough like interesting things happening. So then I just add stuff in. So every chapter is difficult for a reason. And I think if you figure out why it's difficult, you'll be able to like work backwards from that. 100%. Yeah, it's kind of like diagnosing the issue. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite writing tips. I think I saw somebody on Tumblr, and sometimes I quote this in my videos now still, where they're like, if you're having an issue in the present, you probably like screwed something up before. So you need to go look
I know. Sometimes, yeah.
And
sometimes the issue is a few pages back.
Yeah, and I feel like I get stuck a lot of the times because I just don't know, like something, I might be missing something. So that's why, like, taking some time to go back and figure out maybe if there was something missing.
Yeah.
That sometimes helps, but
yeah. Ari asked, what has surprised you most about TradPub so far? Every day is a surprise.
For
guys,
me, listen,
you answer first.
Listen, I feel like I always knew it's about the market and it's about what sells and blah, 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 blah. Like, and I get it, but I feel like since like the paper shortage and like Canadian publishing in general, like is not as big as like American traditional publishing. So they really need to focus on sales. Like it is so sales oriented. Like there is no room. There is no room for anything.
Yeah.
That's at least from like the literary, because I come from like the literary end of like being in trad pub, being as if I've done anything. I just somehow on sub.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I have noticed the most. It is way more about market than I could have ever conceived. And like obviously
Yeah.
I already knew that, but now I'm like, oh my God, like that's a lot of thinking
Yeah.
about what sells. And that's a headache
Yeah.
to me. And I can't deal with it. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But
Yeah. I think it's like just the stark realization of how much publishing is so not about meritocracy. Yeah, like talking with people, with writers that I know are very good writers, and their books dying on sub. Like, it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean your very good book isn't getting published because of whatever random reasons, you know?
and and it's like
Yeah.
it's so timing and luck based that if nothing happens,
Yes.
like you can't
Yes.
even blame yourself, girl. Like
Yeah. Me going on sub with a dystopian love story the year before dystopian had its resurgence. Like it's like little things like that.
yeah.
I think also just like the divide in the market with literary and commercial, like those two terms make me so yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then another surprise is hearing that we've talked about this, how publishing uses the term accessibility as a way to describe
Yeah,
when
Rachel hates
writing
this.
is. I hate it so much, and I want to
She's
like
like,
kill something when I hear it. Like it
yeah.
upsets me so much. Like, oh, the
Yeah.
literary fiction is not accessible. The writing is
It
not
has to be
accessible. I'm like,
accessible.
do you mean approachable? Like,
Yeah.
is that what you mean? Like, I know that what they're saying
Yeah.
by accessible, but maybe this is my problematic take. I'm not going to say it on your channel.
She's like, I'm not trying to get you guys canceled. Yeah.
That's another surprising thing. It did actually genuinely surprise me when I heard like professionals being like, oh, and the writing is still accessible. And I was like, oh.
Simplifying prose. Yeah. I'm actually really struggling to simplify my prose in my current book. But I'm getting there, you know, different voice, new challenge. So the last thing I'll say about this is the other thing that has surprised me about TradPub is so my debut is being published with an independent publisher. And they're also new. Bindery is like only a couple years old. But I have been really surprised by the level of support and resources that I've gotten from an indie publisher compared to my friends that are at bigger publishers. And I think the thing that I heard about but didn't quite understand until I was in the industry was that like if you're good with a really good indie publisher, a lot of the times because their list is smaller, they can dedicate more resources to you.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that my publisher is doing for me and paying for is things that like other authors with like big publishers, 6-figure deals are like they're paying out of pocket for. So yeah, obviously a bigger publisher usually will pay a higher advance, so like, you know, always take the cash. But yeah, I think I've just been really surprised by like how good I've had it at an indie publisher where like the transparency is there, the communication is there. I love the team. I feel like I'm always kept in the loop. They've like done so much for me. So yeah, I've been surprised.
Shout out Bindery.
Shout out Bindery, guys. I actually love them and they're not paying me to say that. Oh my god, I'm so behind on the questions. Okay, I'm gonna try to go more. Okay, do you have any advice on developmental revisions, how to strengthen voice and character?
Well, right now I'm actually like doing like a developmental, like a casual developmental edit for one of my friends. Yeah, so for one of my friends, and so this is like interesting, and it's like on topic for where my head is at. So I feel like usually I'm very bad at talking about developmental revisions, but now I'm like, okay, I'm in the middle of it, so I think my brain is kind of tuned to it. When, for me, like as a fine detail like prose person, the first thing when you're doing a developmental like edit is just to ignore the actual prose. Like ignore it. Like it's not important right now. Like don't think about it. Because like so much time can be wasted like when you like are focusing too much on the line, even if it's like, but it's just like for this paragraph. No. Turn off that part of your
Yeah.
brain. And that's I think like I always go in, and once I start reading a book, I start to get a sense what might need some strengthening. And
Mhm.
when that does sort of hit me, if it's like, oh, the character seems a little inconsistent or a little like, this is just an example, but like a little like flat, I'm gonna make like a heading like for character in my mind and
Mhm.
keep a mental tally or like actual physical notes of ideas on the character, as well as what my like ideas for the future to kind of amend that.
Yeah.
So I think creating like big categories for certain craft elements while you're doing a read through is helpful. And then also doing a read
Mhm.
through relatively quickly. Like I think within a few days
Oh,
it's
yeah.
easier to see kind of
Yeah.
developmental changes that need to be made.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
I think my main dev, like, thing that has helped me is don't feel like you have to do everything all at once.
Yeah.
So, for me, I'll be like, "Okay, this is the draft where I focus on strengthening the main character's motivations, and, like, that's the main thing for this draft." And then the next draft, I'll be like, "Okay, this is when I'm going to flesh out this one world building detail." Because I think a lot of the times, especially, if it's an early dev edit, you're going on draft 2, draft 3, there's so much that you need to fix,
Yeah.
and it can feel like, "Oh my god, everything is so wrong." But if you just focus on one or two main things that you feel like you can handle for this draft, it's like, "Okay, I can tackle that in the next draft," and it feels a lot more, it feels less daunting, I think, when you break it
Yeah.
down into tasks. That's how my brain works.
The way I'm
Yeah.
taking notes, like, that's what I should do when
Look
I'm
at
working
that.
on my own developmental edit. Like, yeah.
Um, what do you use to plan your book? Certain writing software or paper? Ooh.
This is fun because I don't really plan.
Yeah.
But I
You're like,
do
"I use my
eventually.
brain."
Well, I have a terrible memory, so I do kind of have to retroactively plan. If not, the entire book will just get lost in my own mind. Like, then I'll
Mm,
never remember anything. So, when I'm retroactively like trying to plot things out, like I will dump all of my like notes that I take on my phone like into a Word
mhm.
doc.
Yeah.
And then I use Scrivener. So what I've been doing in Scrivener is I don't use it to write. I just use it to like reverse outline, where I'll dump all of the ideas that I've gotten in my notes and then have a little description as like the title of the little scene card.
Yeah.
Just so that like at first glance I can tell what actually happens there. So then I have all that information. If I am like, oh, I don't really know what ideas I have, well, I can just look at it really quickly. So that's helpful. I
Yeah.
do have a video on like plotting too for
Mhm.
cancers, and I still use that method with like the index cards, and it's pretty much the
Yeah.
same thing that I do now, but like on my computer if I'm too lazy to write it out.
Yeah. I also use Scrivener. I really like the scene cards, like, or that you can see a bulletin board version of all your scenes.
Yeah.
I also have a video about how I, like, plan my books. I think it's literally the most watched video on my channel. Um, and it's a lot of brain dumping and just word vomiting into a Google Doc. And then I actually
Yeah.
draft in Scrivener because I like to shuffle scenes around. But I think index cards are, like, whether you do digital index cards or like real index cards, it's nice to see all the scenes like broken down.
Yes.
Yeah. Discovery writing and getting the word count I want is not correlating.
Music.
Period. How much of your pace and word counts do you attribute to plotting? Ah,
Oh.
so even as a plotter, my word count is like insane. I overwrite. It's hard to plan for everything. And I think, like, for a first draft, I wouldn't really hold yourself to a word count so much because, like, sometimes it's like you just need to get the ideas down to figure out where you need to go, and you can always cut that out later. I think a lot of writers are, like, really scared of, like, not getting it right the first time, but it's okay to not get it right the first time. I feel like no one does.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I think like this is hard to say because as a discovery writer, like I've both underwritten and overwritten, like, as part of the process. So I feel like that's just like the nature of writing a book and less to do with
Mm,
the actual technicalities of the process. Because like
mhm.
when you're writing a book, you're like just learning about it, whether or not you plot it in advance. Like when you're actually doing
Yeah.
the act of writing, you are learning about it. So
Yeah.
honestly, like if you like the process, then like stick with it. But
If you
like
don't,
if you don't,
yeah.
then you could try plotting. But
Yeah. I think the other thing that I like about plotting is that I don't necessarily plot every single scene, but if you break things down into this is everything that happens in act 1, 2, 3, and 4, if you I write in 4 acts. It does help you see like if there's too much happening at the start or if there's not an interesting like midpoint tension. Like I like to at least bullet points every major conflict that happens in each act so that you can see the way that the plot threads like tumble into each other.
smart.
Yeah. Where do you get inspiration for unique characters? I feel like it's so easy to fall back onto the same few archetypes all the time. Unique
Listen,
characters.
listen, I like writing with the exact same people all the
I knew
time.
you were
So
gonna
like that's
say this.
fine. Like, listen.
You're like,
It
hey,
looks
what's wrong with archetypes?
Yeah, I think it was on a Kate Kavanaugh video where like she was asking people to send in like their writing secrets, and somebody was like, I have
Mm.
been writing with the same cast of characters for my entire writing like career, but I've
Yeah.
remixed them and changed their names and nobody knows, but it's the
Who's gonna
exact
know?
same
It's my
character. How would
multiverse.
they know? How would they
That
know?
would be literally that meme. How would they
How
know?
would they
How
know?
would they know? um, yeah, so I think archetypes are very helpful because it's kind of like when you're using tropes to your advantage because those are like familiar things and a lot of the times the fears, desires, motivations can feel very intuitive. But if you're getting bored and feeling like, oh, everything is the same across all my stuff, I think like I think like what makes characters unique are their flaws. So I always try to think about like what makes this person weird or freaky or
Mhm.
traumatized. Like I feel like I get really interesting ideas there.
That's the trifecta. Weird, freaky, and
Yeah. Not all sometimes not all three, but like if I think about okay, is this person like weird for some reason or like do they have trauma in their past that manifests in their personality? Like think about their flaws because then you'll start really thinking about the characters as like fuller human beings.
100%.
Um yeah, okay, let's go rapid fire. What made you feel like your book was agent sub ready? I feel like I could keep tweaking and making edits forever. This is yeah, I think all writers struggle with this.
We have two
Vibes.
very different journeys, I
Yeah,
think,
we do, we
like,
do, we do.
going on
Yeah.
sub. Do you wanna take this
Yeah.
first?
Yeah, so for me, I'm like so not a good person to ask this because when I was querying local heavens, I was like, I probably shouldn't query this, but like whatever. Like I treated Local Heavens as like a not very serious querying project because it was literary science fiction. I was like, who's gonna offer on literary science fiction for a debut author? Like I didn't have that much hope, I guess, but I was just like, I felt like I had tweaked the book as good as I could. And it was mostly because I had 3 beta readers on it and a critique partner who's my brother, and no one had much to say anymore in terms of developmental edits. So, because all the feedback was pretty positive from multiple people, I felt like that was, a good sign that it was somewhat structurally sound, and then I did a couple line edit passes, and I was like, the line level writing's good enough for now." Like, I didn't think it was bad. So that's why I just decided to query it. But yeah, I think for me it was just I got good feedback. How do I know if it was submission ready? By the time you're going on sub, you have an agent, so they'll have a good sense of whether or not you're sub ready.
Yeah. For me, my agent sought me out, so I didn't have to query a manuscript with her. So it was very like
Slay.
different.
Yeah.
It was a very different experience in that like I didn't even really have a project. She was just interested in my work and kind of following where I was.
Mhm.
So when it felt ready enough to send her, I also didn't think we were going on. My publishing journey is I had no idea any of this was gonna
You're like,
happen.
we're going on sub?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of came together. So when I was working on sort of the submission package, like in late winter, it was like, do I think this order feels right? Because they were for stories. It helped that a lot of them were already published, like in magazines. So I already had that sort of, like you said, with the
Mm.
feedback, like you get the positive feedback, and then it just sort of happened. Like I think
Mm.
I've been like I get a lot of like anxiety if I start overthinking publishing. So I think a part of it is I
Yeah.
also just have like audacity and I'm like, it's done. I like get it out of my face. And I
Yeah.
hope for the
Yeah. At some point, you just have to be like confident. And I do think you develop like an inner, I don't know, an inner instinct. Not an inner
yeah.
instinct. That's just an instinct. Instincts are always inner. You do develop an instinct for like if you like your writing and if you think it's pretty
Yeah.
good. There's a question about short stories, which I
Oh.
feel like you're pretty good with that.
Yeah.
Do
Do
short
short
stories
stories
have
have
to
to
happen in one
happen?
setting or the same day? Can it
No.
take like more than one day?
No. You can
It
write
can be
a
as
short
long as you
story.
want. Yeah.
It could take place over 100 years. Like
If you want to. Yeah.
whatever you want in short stories, it's fine. What I'd recommend is if like you're trying to write a short story, go on like literary magazines online. Not to like keep plugging myself, but I do have a video on short stories, and in the description there's a list of stories. Just start clicking through all of those in those magazines and read them, and you'll see the
Yeah.
vast difference of like timelines and everything in short stories. But yeah, short story can be
Yeah.
whatever you want, which is
Short stories
why I
can be
like them.
weird, experimental. That's the great thing about short fiction. How to write dialogue in an engaging way. I've been struggling with characters sounding too stiff and monologue-y. Mm.
I feel like you're very good at dialogue. I don't have any tips because I don't think I'm very good at dialogue. Sorry. Like
What? That is such a lie. What do you mean? Why
I
would you not be good at dialogue?
don't know. Like I'm a good yapper, but like I don't know if that
Oh, okay.
translates into like my dialogue. I don't know.
Mm. I think I've learned like dialogue writing from like studying good dialogue in TV shows, because there's also bad dialogue. Um, yeah, I think the main thing that I always say when people ask me for like how I like to approach dialogue, usually it depends on the conversation, but usually characters aren't necessarily saying all the time what they're thinking.
Yeah.
So I try to go from there. I think a lot of times when things feel too monologue-y, it's because you're surfacing details through the character that maybe they wouldn't necessarily be saying out loud. So,
Yeah.
like, you have to identify sort of like what's the core tension or point of the conversation, and like,
Yeah.
would all these characters be saying it out loud, or would they be talking around it?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's this
Yeah.
is one of those things that like you kind of need an example, but um, yeah, I think good TV shows do this pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like dialogue is also like a dance almost. Like, you know how like
Mm,
you have a if you're doing partner dancing, like there's somebody else that you're relying on. I think
yeah,
if you're writing a conversation, also like remembering that it's like two sides, like it's not just like one person and then it sort of
yeah,
feels one-sided or it feels like a little unnatural. Both of them have to
yeah.
work together to make that conversation work.
Yeah, I find that a lot of my conversations that start sounding monologue-y are when I have to do exposition, and it's like one character knows everything, and they're explaining it to a character that doesn't know anything.
Listen, I feel
Yeah.
like a writer has one pass. Like you have one chance in one book to do that. Like
Yes, I think so. Here's like my it's not a hot take, but like I feel like it's not the worst thing in the world if once or twice in your very long book, a character is monologuing a little bit. Like, I don't
exactly.
know. Yeah, I definitely have some monologue-y parts in Local Heavens, like towards the end, one of the end scenes.
Yeah.
It's like very heavy-handed, but even as I was writing it, I was like, I don't care. I
Yeah.
was like, I got to the end of this book, and if a reader is reading this far, girl, let me monologue for a little bit.
It's like almost deciding how much you can like tolerate, and then
Yes.
also just being mindful of not doing it every single conversation. But I feel like it's fine too.
Yeah.
Like I would
Yeah.
suspend my disbelief like for a few times of that shit.
Yeah. I know. But it's also like, yeah, some readers don't like that, and you're not gonna appeal to every reader anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah. Adam says, hi. Hi, Adam. Thanks for popping in. Um, this is amazing. Two favorite author duos coming together. Thank you, Emma. Lynn popped in a while ago to say hi. Hi, Lynn. I don't know if you're still here. I thought Lynn was streaming today with Cody and someone else. How do you know when your book is ready for publication? We talked about that with Ari's question. Usually your agent, yeah, will tell you. How do you get back into a story you haven't worked on in a bit? Ooh,
I have thoughts because as somebody who has a terrible
okay.
short-term memory, my memory is so
Oh,
bad. So if
yeah.
I don't work on my book every day, even if it's been 2 days, I will be like, I forgot everything that happened. I can't remember anything. I have no idea what
Mm,
I'm doing. So
mhm.
first of all, I try to build a consistent writing routine.
Yeah.
Not that I want to, but because my brain, I have to. Like, and the problem is I haven't been following that routine, which is why the next step is if I haven't been writing consistently, this is what I would do. I go back in and I reread everything that I like as far back as I can manage. Obviously, if it's like a 100,000 word book, I'm not going to read the whole thing. But if it's like the beginning of the chapter, something where I can either listen to it through like text to speech or read it out loud. I really like doing it in an English accent. So fun. Um,
Love. I love
yes.
that.
So that's how I would recommend reading your work out loud. And then that kind of gives me like a momentum to push into drafting. But for me, it's all about reminding myself where I was at. And you know what?
Mm,
Also, a preventative measure, like for people who have terrible memories like me, is like writing down a little note for yourself at the end of your drafting session. That's like, this is what needs to happen. This is where you
yeah.
left off. This is where the character's head is
Yeah.
mentally. So you kind of have a signal. But
Yeah.
really for me, it's just getting familiarized as quickly as possible and then just trying to like push into it rather than overthink.
Yeah. So I never leave a writing session off at the end of a scene. I always start the next scene. Whether it's
So
just like
fun.
I write one sentence or a couple lines of dialogue, because then it tricks my brain into thinking like, even if I take a week off, it's like, okay, I know what's happening. I
Okay.
read back a couple chapters before to remember what's going on. And then sometimes if I am writing a chapter or a scene that I just don't like, and I'm struggling to get back into it, I just like skip to like a scene that is fun for me to write. And that's kind
Yeah.
of how I get back into it.
Yep.
Um, I want to
Ooh.
try publishing, but I'm a disabled writer. Is it worth it to try trad publish even being disabled?
This is such a good question. I'm also a disabled writer. So I'm autistic. I also like take medication because I have anxiety. And I also have chronic pain. So I totally get where this is at. And all of those things have impacted my writing. So I
Mm-hmm.
think if you're thinking about like trying traditional publishing, and this is like I think advice for everybody, but it's absolutely to have the strongest boundaries you can manage and to take
Mm-hmm.
little pieces that like you can handle. So like
Yeah.
recently, for example, my ass got rejected basically, and like
Ooh, she's sharing the tea.
it could have been a tailspin. It could have been
Yeah.
maybe a little bit, but also I was like, okay, you know what? I only have so much energy to do certain things. I need to save my energy to do the actual thing I want to do right now, which is
Yeah.
draft my book. So
Yeah.
let me just think about that later. Like I'm not trying to like ignore it, but
Yeah.
like kind of just like compartmentalizing where I'm going to put my energy because I think
Yeah.
overexhausting yourself
Mm-hmm.
with like the anxieties like of traditional publishing, the not
Mm-hmm.
knowing, like that's going to make symptoms worse. And I don't think that you should ever sacrifice your like well-being for traditional publishing. So take it
Yeah.
in little slow steps, even if that means like trying your best to like literally forget that it's even happening. Like just
Yeah.
distract yourself as much as possible.
No, it's true. Like, I mean, I famously, when I was on sub last year, guys, I had to go to the cardiologist at the ripe age of like 25 because I was developing panic attacks from publishing. It's not worth it. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that's like the same as being disabled, but I definitely let publishing affect me too much. And I think like now in hindsight, I'm like, I don't want to say it's not that serious, but like literally nothing is worth your health, mental, physical. It's like not worth it at all. And I think like if you're at the point where you're already on submission and you've like, you know, you've gotten an agent and everything, like it's good to have an agent who will have your back and will, you know, help you set those boundaries. You know, they're not your therapist, but like they're your business partner and sometimes your creative partner. And like if you're having trouble maybe standing up to people in publishing, your agent is someone who can help you do that. So I think if you want to traditionally publish, like if it's something you seriously want to do, I wouldn't let being disabled like stop you from even trying. Yeah. Any advice for first time querying? How to make query and opening pages stand out among thousands of queries. So I actually have a video where I broke down my query letter and why it was bad and how to improve it. I know like other author tubers have also broken down their query letter. I think Lynn has a good query letter video and Lynn got like a lot of offers on that one. I don't know. Lynn said she's still in the stream. I think Lynn got like, what was it? 6 agent offers. Yeah, I think honestly, there is a formula to writing a query letter, especially if you write genre fiction. So it's like if you follow that formula, and I talk a little bit about it in my video, you're like already ahead of the pack. Because a lot of people who get rejected in the query trenches are people who are also just like straight up not following submission guidelines and stuff like that. Yeah. I know Rachel didn't even have to query.
I know. I was like, I wish I had advice. I wish I had advice on this, but I don't think I do.
Yeah. How did you find your agents? So my agent is very, I guess like she represents a lot of genre fiction writers. So I think she was like the 3rd or 4th agent that I queried. And I just Googled. I literally just Googled.
So amazing. Like,
yeah, I don't remember if I had Query Tracker. That's what's called, Query Tracker.
Oh, yes.
Has a database. Wow, database of query agents. Yeah. And once again, Rachel was headhunted because she's famous.
Yeah.
The monologuing is so real. It took my most recent revision to realize I liked writing those and might be good at them, so I leaned into it instead of trying to chop all of them up.
Listen,
period.
There's I just read, I don't know if you started it, but I know I got you on it because I know you bought a copy of Martyr by Kaveh Akbar.
Oh my god, yeah, I bought it because you love it.
I don't shut up about it. Well, the main character like monologues a lot, but it fits in the voice. Like you don't even question it. Like the first chapter is pretty much an entire monologue, and I loved it. It's great.
Yeah, there's a way to do that stuff well. How can I plan my book in a more objective way and work in a more solid foundation? How to avoid getting lost with the amount of ideas that come out that don't always fit my project? Oh, yeah.
I think what I do, like when I'm plotting, like what I was doing when I was plotting my contemporary fantasy book, is I will take down like note of all of my ideas and like write out like 1-sentence log lines for each scene idea that I have or whatever. And then I'll start to categorize those. Like if I start seeing like one belongs under a certain subplot or one like some ideas are about a certain thing, I'll put everything that's sort of like with with each other. And
Mhm.
then that can help me see if something's just sticking out and doesn't fit at all in the book, or if there's like too many like repeated scenes, like those things have already kind of
Yeah.
like occurred. That helps me. But I'm also an overwriter, and my last book
Me
was
too.
200,000 words long. So
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I don't know what doesn't belong in the book until I've written it. And like I know it's like so inefficient, but also like that's just how my brain
but also, like,
works.
isn't that kind of cool? Like, you get so many versions of the book because of how
Yes.
like just
Yes.
the writing process is. I feel like that's a lovely, lovely thing. Like, if it changes a
Yeah.
lot, you just kind of got like a little fan fiction side quest for yourself, you know? Like,
Honestly, dude, like I have like probably 10 different versions of the Local Heavens prologue. Like, oh my
yeah.
God. It's insane. That's actually a really good thing to note is like a lot of people see it's okay. This is the other thing about like writing and just the way it's been like commercialized where it's all like efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. I won't get into AI, but like, that's like one of the ways that AI tries to like get new writers is like, we'll help you do this really fast so that you like, whatever. It's
Mhm.
all about like trying to make everything as like fast as possible. And I think that there is something like really valuable about writing even the things that don't make it into the final draft. Like
Yeah.
that is a positive part of writing too.
Yeah.
But it's not really framed as a positive thing because capitalism.
Mhm.
For those who struggle with a writing routine, especially if your work schedule is wonky, how have you juggled a new relationship on top of all that? Oh,
Oh,
you're asking the wrong people.
I don't have experience with that, and I don't want any experience with that.
Maybe people in the comments can answer.
Yeah,
Um,
but I feel like if you're struggling like to fit writing in, first of all, it's okay to like live life and enjoy life. Like not everything's about writing. Like don't worry
live,
about it.
live, laugh, love, you guys.
Exactly,
Yeah.
live, laugh, love. It's fine. But like, it really is about like I'm gonna sound like so annoying. It's about making time. But like if you know that you have like 20 minutes like on your commute that you can like,
Yeah.
if you're not exhausted and you feel like you can do it that day, like maybe that's when you write. Like
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't really talk to people, so the relationship part is kind of, I don't know how to
Yeah.
start.
When I was
Mhm.
working full time, I would write during my lunch break. I also worked from home. So this was like a really big privilege.
Yeah.
I would write on my break and then I would write in the evenings.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I know people hate to hear it, but it's habit building. It's going to be
Yep.
hard the first several times. But you just also like, I feel like if you're really like if you're really passionate enough about your story, it's like it becomes something that you want to do.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
whatever you're writing shouldn't feel like you're forcing yourself to do it.
Mhm.
um so many questions, sorry if I miss any. um what advice would you give to other authors who are stuck in the revision process and move closer towards self-publishing their novels? Ooh.
If you're stuck in revisions, I think like, I wonder why. Is it like you're stuck because you're not sure what changes need to be made? Because in that case, I think sometimes it could be pausing and like reevaluating the manuscript. Like you might just need to step back and kind of like read it again, look at it again from like a bird's eye view to try
Mhm.
to understand what might be out of place rather than like tinkering with the same thing over and over again because you're not sure what's happening. Kind of
Yeah.
looking at it as part of like one part of a whole that you need to like reevaluate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also like beta readers
Yeah.
and critique
Maybe that's the
partners.
time. That's the time to
Yeah.
send it to someone else.
Like if I'm reading my manuscript and I'm like, this doesn't feel right, like this needs to be edited, but I don't know what needs to change. A lot of the times it's just like it's time to send it to someone.
Yeah.
Um
That's when I
so
start bugging my sister. I'm like, girl, read this
yeah,
now.
yeah. For me, it's my brother. I'm like, you need to read this because I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yep.
And that honestly, 99% of the time gets me out of like the hole that I'm in. Um, in terms of self-publishing, like it really just depends what you like, what kind of career you want.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with self-publishing. If you're like, I just want to publish this as is, and like I don't want to wait, I don't want to spend any time like having to do, because you're gonna have to do a lot of edits. If you're working with an agent, you're working with an editor, you're gonna have to spend many, many, many more drafts. But if you're like, I really just want to like, I'm really happy with this. All I care about is that people will be able to buy it and read it, and um, you don't really want any of the other things that you have to do in TradPub, then that's like fine, you know.
Yeah. I
It
think
like it's so dependent on what an author deems like their idea of success and like what they want out of their career.
Yeah, I think I see like an update from the same commenter. I think it's just trying to figure out which chapters I could do without because my book is 113K. Okay, Overwriters Club. Love it. But
Wait,
my
is 113K
developmental
bad? Depends what you're writing. It depends what you're writing.
Yeah, though my developmental editor is helping with that part. Yeah, I think it's like
Okay.
I mean, if you're writing, did you say what genre? But like if you're writing genre fiction, there are like certain genre conventions that you're gonna want to stick to. So I think looking for
Yeah.
repeated beats is always like a
Oh
a
my
good
God,
one.
yeah. That one gets me.
Looking at the beginning, see if the beginning like draws on too long or like any section. Like I find for me, it's either like the mid to end that just becomes gigantic. So I always like knowing my own process, I just go and check like that section to see if there's like repeated emotional beats, repeated plot beats. But yeah, it's hard to tell like for each individual manuscript.
Yeah. Actually, repeated plot beats is so true.
Yep.
That one really gets you.
Oh, I always repeat plot beats, but the good thing about like writing for yourself is I don't care. I just
yeah, I know.
I just do it anyway.
Yeah. Do you have any tips on plotting the middle of a story? Oh my God, the middle.
Okay, funny thing, I love writing the middle. The middle is my favorite place to be because I hate writing the beginning and I hate writing the end.
Wait, I feel like you're in the minority. Who the heck likes writing the middle?
I don't think most people.
Well, oh, Rachel, you're so psychotic sometimes.
Listen, I know, right? Because I get like the emotional, like the disconnect in the middle. Like you've been writing this for so long, you get lost in the middle.
Yeah.
But for me, like I'm just more comfortable in the middle. So if I don't know what's happening, it's probably because my conflict is not strong enough. Like if you like, and I'm just kind of being very general here, and I'm like referring mostly to like genre fiction and like genre conventions. But if you're like getting really stuck in the middle of the story or you don't know what's supposed to happen in the middle of the story, well, the middle of the story is supposed to like get you on your way to resolving the conflict or not resolving the conflict, depending on how your story is like structured. So like looking at that conflict and seeing, okay, what needs to happen in order for that conflict to move somehow or to resolve itself. And then seeing if you're missing any sort of like beats as you answer that question.
Yeah. I have like an issue actually where I love writing the beginning and I front load the beginning with so much and it like really bogs down the pacing. So actually for Local Heavens, I think it was you, Rachel, you were the one who gave me the feedback on the first draft where you were like, I think there was like a plot beat that was like introduced in like Act 2. And you're like, should this be moved up in Act 1? Because this is like a major conflict because like literally nothing was happening in Act 1. And I was like, yeah. So it like literally gets moved like all the way to the start. Like sometimes, yeah. I think sometimes a lot, it's like plot threads just like aren't paced well. I don't know.
Yeah, looking at pacing if something's out of order. Yeah, that could help too.
How do you not write with potential hateful comments in mind? I know you talked about this in one video. I was wondering if you both could talk about this. Oh yeah, I think I talked about it in my spicy writing takes video and I made like a TikTok out of it. But yeah, I think about this as writing defensively, where I feel like it's a detriment to authors to write thinking about their future 1-star reviews or thinking about, oh my God, what is my family? What are people in real life going to think about me? if they read this,
Yeah.
and I just don't think about it. I mean, okay, so when I'm writing a first draft, I don't think about it at all. I think that's the only way to get through it, is like I just have to write as if I'm the only audience. And then in revision, that's when I start playing the future 1-star review game. So and then I basically make a list of like every possible negative thing that someone could say, and then I sort them into, is this something that I want to address and fix? Because sometimes it's like, a useful thing to address. Or is this something that I don't care about? Like if someone makes that criticism, it's just their personal taste, and that means the book is just not for them, and that's okay. And like that's how you kind of filter out your inner critic, and like you just make peace with it.
Right.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I feel like learning how to write unselfconsciously is like one of the hardest endeavors, like for me, and I feel like for a lot of writers, figuring out how to stop thinking about other people reading this thing is the worst. I love that you cannot think about it in draft 1. Like that's where it hits me the most, I think.
If I think about it in draft 1, I'm never making it through the trenches.
So that exactly.
Yeah.
So I think like I always have to have this dialogue with myself where it's like, oh well, like I have to keep going. Like what am like I can't not write the book. I made it this far. Try to push past. But it can be pretty freaky. So I think also acknowledging like, oh my God, like I'm really freaked out right now. I know somebody's gonna read this and somebody might judge it. And then being like, oh well, like walking yourself through through those feelings, like
yeah.
Oh, and then something that also has helped me, which I know is not available to a lot of people, but I mean, if you have a YouTube channel and like projects you can sharing first drafts, that has helped. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, just like demystifying it, being like, guys, look, it's fugly, but who cares?
Look at my fugly draft, everyone. And like, whatever, it's fine. So but I think it's like an internal journey thing. Like I don't think there's anything external that could ever like make it easier. It's just having to constantly talk to yourself and be like, girl, it's not that serious. Like you're gonna be fine.
Yeah. Also, side note, okay. The first draft of Local Heavens, it didn't have the longer spicy scene that happens at the end of the book. And Rachel's like, I didn't read that scene. Yeah, because it wasn't in draft 1 because I didn't want to write it because I'm Catholic. So I was like, I don't want to write it. And then I ended up like across 10 drafts writing it. And each time I returned to the draft, I was like, ooh, I could tell I was too self-conscious here. Like I need to push it further. I need to push it further. And this doesn't just go for sex scenes. This goes for like any scene where you're like, ooh, I felt like I held back with the language that I could have used. I could have made this metaphor stronger, but maybe I was too scared to, because what if it's too visceral? What if it's too offensive? Like that kind of thing. And so I find that a lot of the times it's like with each draft, you just kind of like peel away a little bit more of your shame. And like, no, but like actually though. So yeah, I feel like that really helps. And also just like the more people read it, like the more you start feeling less like, ooh, this is like a private thing. Oh, actually, what I was gonna say was that like I've gotten in the habit of like, if I'm writing like a spicy scene, I do it in public. I write it in a cafe.
I love this.
Because it's like it forces you to focus. Like everyone else is doing their work, and it's like I'm also doing my work.
It's like
it like makes it feel like something that's like not weird. It's like I'm writing it because this is the scene that needs to be in the book. Yeah.
It's part of the book, and that's just how it is, and you don't need to assign any sort of like moral like feeling.
Yeah,
like,
I know. But like it can feel, I get it. I have Catholic guilt, and I'm just
me too. For me, I've had to have dedicated projects where I work on dismantling my own internal feelings. So I'm my religious trauma. I'm not suggesting that people do that as well, but like honestly, writing my like novella that was like, okay, I have Catholic trauma, I need to fix this. Like that really did help. And then also being like, well, I know I'm probably gonna be like really embarrassed when my mom reads this, but like whatever, like
whatever. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think also like when you just kind of get you just kind of get comfortable with the idea of people not liking your book, because I think
Yeah.
you start getting very used to rejection once agents and editors start rejecting it. So it does get easier, I would say. Oh, it's already 2. Okay. Tips on how I can decide if a project should be a novel or a short story, even though I don't have publishing in mind at this point.
Oh, I feel like novels and short stories are like how you can think of it is how much space do I think that this story needs? And sometimes you're going to set out to write a short story and be like, "Oh, this is a novel or this is a novella." That's happened to me many times. And so like
Mhm.
it just kind of expands. But I don't
Yeah.
know if it's like a like decide in an advance thing. Like, I mean, if you plot, then like what does the plot look like? Do you think that you would need like minimum 50,000 words to explore this? Do you think
Yeah.
do you think it kind of can just be a contained shorter piece? But I think that's kind of hard to know without knowing exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not very good at short fiction. Um, I usually like if I write a short story, it's just because I have a single idea and it's like I want to see
Yeah.
like what this idea could be. But
Yeah,
I
for
am
me
a
it's
very
like
like novel first kind of writer.
I know, like I feel like that switched in my head. Like for a while I was novel first and I was short story first. Now I'm back to novel first. And I feel like it's
Yeah.
also knowing like how long can I sustain this bit, you know?
Oh my god,
And
yeah, I know what
a
you
lot of the
mean.
time you can't sustain it that long
Yeah,
if it's truly a short story.
yeah. Let's do one more question and then do you want to sprint? Like we'll try one and then
Sure.
see.
Yeah.
Um, how to find reliable critique partners.
This is so hard because I was
It
born with my
is.
critique partner.
I know. Yeah, mine is
Mhm,
also my brother.
that does help. But I think it's about finding somebody who you like have aligned values with in writing. Like
Yeah.
if you find a critique partner, but they have a completely different outlook on writing than you,
Yeah.
like maybe for some people that would work, but for me, I might have like find a challenge in sort of creating a balanced relationship and like creating
Yeah.
like giving feedback that like feels useful to you and for the other person, you know, you're giving feedback that's useful to them. So I think like don't be afraid to look not only on online spaces. I know Discord groups are really big.
Yeah.
But if you have a library or something and they're doing like writing programming, seeing what you can do, like if you can join, if you're like in school, seeing what
Yeah.
opportunities are available in school. But yeah, I feel like this is like the same question as asking like how do I find really good friends? And like
Yeah. It's hard.
a lot of it's luck. Like I feel like
Yeah. I think like I wouldn't consider someone a critique partner until like I get to know them first as a person and as a writer. And that can take time, but it can happen. Like if if you don't have access to people in your real life, just kind of like being in online writing spaces, getting to know other writers, and then kind of sussing out their vibe. And if you feel like, okay, this person, yeah, like you were saying, has like a similar outlook on writing, has similar taste in stories, they might be a good candidate for a critique partner.
yeah.
So yeah, but I know it's hard. Making writing friends is so hard. I get this question a lot. Like, how do I find
Yeah.
community? I think who was it? I think Brielle did a video about it once. But yeah, it's definitely like all my writing friends have come from luck across over 4 years.
100%.
Yeah. It's also about putting yourself out there too. Like you have to
Exactly.
initiate, get to know someone and
And sometimes you have
yeah.
to create your own space and community. Like I didn't have any
Yes,
writing
yeah.
friends because like I didn't know anybody. Like when I started writing as a kid, obviously
Yeah.
like I was a child, so I didn't have any other writing friends. Like my sister was a writer, so that helped. But like I just sort of built friends like through like posting on Tumblr and like being on YouTube. And
Yes,
then
yeah.
now I have a pretty and like getting my degree in writing. Okay, that helped too.
Yeah.
Now I have like a good network. So I think it's just also like give yourself time to like just because you don't have any like strong writer friends or critique partners
Yeah.
doesn't mean that like that won't happen. It just sometimes takes
Yeah.
time.
It does take time. Okay. Thanks guys for asking all those questions. I hope they were helpful. Let's sprint for a bit. And because I do have to do a little bit of work, we can start with a 20-minute sprint.
I love 20 minutes
Is that too
each.
short? I feel like that's a good amount of time, right?
That's my favorite length.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do 20 minutes and then we'll see how everyone feels.
Awesome.
Let's do I have a timer. Let's put this one up. What's everyone working on for their sprint? Writing?
I'm gonna do some editing.
Brainstorm mini conflicts so I can sprinkle into the scene. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm also gonna do some writing. Let me unpin this comment. Okay. All right, we're gonna start our first sprint and we'll check in 20 minutes.
Awesome. I love that timer.
Hey,
That ended
piano
so
tones.
no, like what?
Yeah. I'm
Now I
glad it
need to
wasn't
make
too abrupt.
another writing sprint after this, like timer. Like I love making the timers. They're so fun.
You make your own timer?
I have a few on my channel and they always do very nicely. I think people
Wait,
like them.
use one of yours. What the heck?
I don't even know what length I have on mine. I can't remember. It's been a few years since I made one, but
Wait, I'm gonna look it up.
now I need to make more. I have one that's like
Yeah.
in a tavern, like you're in a tavern
Wait,
writing.
how did I not know this? I'm looking it up. I'm literally on your channel.
Okay, slay.
How
Yeah,
was
I don't
that
even
sprint for everyone?
yeah.
How was it for you,
Let's
Rachel?
it was good. I did a good chunk of reading because I'm just trying to
That's
do my
good.
first read of this. And I'm like almost halfway, like I'm over halfway done, sorry. So
Mm,
yeah.
I'm like, wait, I'm on your channel.
Your keyboard sounded so
Timer.
nice.
Oh, thanks. Okay, there's 10 minutes, 20 minutes with fire crackling. I don't know if people want that though.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say you had one in a tavern?
Did I not upload the one with the tavern? Maybe that's still in my unuploaded video.
No! Unprivate it. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. It's okay. Wait, how do you guys feel about timers that make sounds? Or do we prefer it silent? Because I know some people.
I kind of like silence, to be honest. So I don't know why I've made a whole
Yeah.
bunch of timers that have sound, but I guess because
No.
you can mute it, but then like the end, you're not going to hear the ringing. So
Yeah.
I think I had two
Yes.
options for the fire one, but I never uploaded the other one. So
Oh my
whichever
god.
one you saw, there is like one other
Okay.
one that I meant to upload.
That's okay. We can stick with this one. Okay, how did everyone do? Finished plotting. Congrats.
Yay!
That's exciting. Finally jumped into my chapter 2 rewrite. Nice. Yeah, I actually had to go back to a previous chapter and add some details in. Guys, I hate drafting. I hate writing a first draft. Nothing makes sense. Everything is vibes.
It's true.
Let's see. Conversations taking the longest time to write. Dialogue is hard.
I feel that.
Like
Sometimes
good
like
dialogue is hard.
yeah, sometimes it comes quick and then when it doesn't, it's like so difficult. Like it takes so
Yeah.
long.
I know. Oh my god. Especially like those conversations where it feels like this doesn't sound like human beings. Like why are they just saying these words, man? Accidentally refined my world building and lore on spirits. Nice. They should be invisible outside of this specific holiday. I love that. Kind of like the sound. Rain or jazz? Ooh, I write with a lot of jazz music, but
Jazz
I
is
don't
so
know
fun.
if everyone did. Wait, what do you like to write to, Rachel?
I usually just sit in silence.
With the silence of my thoughts.
Just
Yeah.
silence. Or like
Yeah.
I'll like write while like speaking out loud, like what I'm writing. So
Yeah.
but so, like I have phases. Sometimes I write with music, sometimes I don't.
True. Yeah. I know. I go back and forth too. How do you go about adding more to a scene when editing? Ooh. Usually I'm trying to cut shit out.
I know.
That's just
right?
me though.
If I have a thin scene, I'm like, either this scene doesn't need to be there, or like I don't know how to flesh this out enough. So I need to look at like the emotions, like the internal arc, like
Yeah.
if it's like a relationship building thing, like something's missing. So kind of identifying what exactly is missing, like why is it so good?
I think it's also like internal and external. Like if a scene doesn't have, if it's not advancing something about the character and the plot at the same time, it's kind of like, do I need this scene? Or maybe it's missing one and that's what I have to add in. So depends on the scene. Reading my first draft after months of letting it sit, it's so messy. That's too real. I hate it. Yeah. First drafts are so psychotic. Do you like drafting? Do you like editing?
I prefer drafting, but I will say,
Mm.
like, drafting a novel with the intention of publishing it is like the worst experience in the entire world.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like I can't wait for that feeling to go away. Like, I know eventually, like, the newness is gonna fade and I'm gonna be fine.
yeah.
But it's painful right in the beginning.
I think that's a reason why I've been struggling too, because this is the
Yep.
first time I'm writing knowing that the book is absolutely going to go on sub, and it's
Yep.
like, bleh.
I don't recommend. It's
it
not fun.
does kill the vibe a little bit. Some people, I feel like that really motivates them, but for me, it's like I'm just
Mhm.
constantly thinking about like, oh, an editor is going to say this, an editor is going to say that, so
Yep.
it's kind of hard. I did give up halfway through, started watching anime.
Real.
Good news, almost caught up with Fire Force. Bad news, I still have 1K restraint. Nice. Do you watch anime, Rachel?
I don't, but my brother does, and he's always watching such interesting ones, like on the TV
Like,
upstairs.
oh, you don't know the titles?
If you start naming them, I probably will, but
I actually have a manga on my shelf. It's Chainsaw Man, Spy Family, and Jujutsu Kaisen. You should start with any of those. Actually, no. Start with Spy Family. That's one of
okay,
the
yeah,
other
maybe I
two.
need to get into it because it always looks whatever he's watching
Yeah.
always looks very interesting.
Is what he's watching like actiony or is it like funny?
I think a lot of it is pretty actiony. Like there was one I know that was about like a surgeon or something who was like a serial killer.
Never mind. I don't
I
know.
don't know, maybe it was a serial killer, but he was like, you would like this because it's like Hannibal, like NBC Hannibal.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
but yeah, he's always watching. I should pay more attention when he is.
Yeah, we need to have Rachel start her anime era.
Yeah.
Successful. I decided I'll try having characters arrive in a different order. So I moved
Oh,
some text out of the way and start rewriting that chunk. Yeah, sometimes like you just change the littlest thing in a scene
yep.
and you're like, why does it work now?
This is why
Like,
writing is so hard because, like, how are
yeah,
you supposed to figure that out? Like
I
before.
know. There are things like it's just like, why did I only think about this in draft 10?
Yeah.
Like awful. What do agents look for in opening pages? Do you know? Does anyone know?
I have no idea. I wish I could tell
Yeah.
you.
I think it depends on genre,
And
but
I think it also depends on like the day that they read it too, because like the trends in
yeah.
publishing change like every 5 minutes. So
Yeah. I think though that like probably the first thing that they're going to notice is like the line level writing and
yeah,
like voice. And a lot of the times like if you read enough, you can tell if a writer is very very new to writing probably within a few seconds.
yeah,
So I think as long as you're you've like polished up your line level, you're already a little bit ahead and they'll at least
100%.
read your entire first scene
Mhm.
hopefully.
That's something else that's surprising about publishing to me. It's like how much like people are like, "Oh my god, the writing is so good," and I'm like,
Is
"Isn't
it?
isn't all writing that like shouldn't that be the isn't that the baseline?" Like, you
Oh
know,
yeah 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 yeah
but like no,
yeah.
it's true. Like if it's something that like stands out, like
Mhm.
it's surprising to me how many comments like I'll get like that'll be like, "Oh, the writing is so good," and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even
Oh
think about
yeah.
that hard." So I
Yeah
think
yeah
you're
yeah.
right. Like if you do like pay attention to the
Yeah.
quality of your line level, it does tend to stand out. I mean, I read slush pile for magazines, and that's the same thing.
True.
I feel like the experience, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the experience of vetting a query letter is very similar to the experience of vetting slush pile.
Uh-huh.
Of like
Yeah.
in stories, like or
Yeah.
mag publishing. And it's
Yeah.
always like I always can tell on that first page. So
Yeah, I imagine, right?
mhm.
You can usually tell if a writer is like not ready to be querying yet.
Yep.
The other thing is like, yeah, I'll get told a lot like, "Oh, the writing is so good." But here's the thing, like good line level writing isn't enough on its own.
Yeah. Yep. So
because
that
you
can
will
also
still get rejections. So like
yes.
you, I think a lot of the times I'm just thinking about like what I would like to see out of like an opening scene. Like if I only had a couple minutes to decide whether or not to keep reading, a couple minutes or less. It's like I think it's also about like the tension. Like if there's like an interesting, it doesn't even have to be a conflict, but like a scene where nothing is happening probably is quite boring for an
Yep.
agent. Like they have to be able to get a hint of like what's to come, you know? Um yeah.
Yeah.
And also never start your book with a character waking up because agents hate that. Unfortunately. Okay, should we try one more 20-minute sprint? And
Sure.
that's probably good. Then that
Sure.
will be a solid 2 hours.
Now
Thank
I
you.
want to make a writing sprint timer. So I think I'm gonna do that during the
Oh my god, yeah, make one. Do a tavern one. Guys, I'm obsessed with bardcore. Sometimes I just listen, not while I'm writing, but sometimes I just listen to like bardcore covers of pop music.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Okay, let's do one more 20-minute sprint just to get some work done. And I think that's good, right? 20
Yeah.
minutes is good.
Yeah, I love 20 minutes.
It's the perfect time.
It gives me enough time to procrastinate, but also enough time to kind of settle in, you know?
Yeah. Procrastinate and settle in.
Yeah.
All right.
Also,
Sorry.
Chris, your 1940s lamp looks so good. It looks so good. Do you know
Thanks.
how good that table would have looked that we saw that one time we went into the thrift?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
that
It was only like
table.
$10 too.
Why didn't any of us take it on the subway?
Girl, I know. I regret it because as soon as we walked away from the table, Rachel and I were in a thrift store. We saw
Yeah.
a really cute vintage table that was $10. We walked away from it, and 30 seconds later, some woman was loading it onto her cart. I was like, damn.
She
Yeah,
heard us.
she heard us. Okay, we'll do another 20 minutes and then, yeah, I think
Okay,
that'll be good.
awesome.
Yeah. Who's that, everyone?
I found a few cute illustrations on Canva. I've been trying to find like illustrations to do like cute, like lo-fi girl inspired writing sprint timers. And
Oh, that's nice.
I tried drawing one myself, but like I don't, it's not my strength. Like I'm more of a portrait
Yeah.
person. I need to bother my sister to do it because I know she could do them, but I can't. So I've been trying to find ones that are not AI generated, and they piss me off so bad when they're AI generated.
Yeah.
So I found some on Canva, and I don't think these are AI generated. So
Yeah, they should do a better job of like marking what's AI generated and not.
well, one of my favorite websites, Pixabay, they oh my god,
Mm.
were inundated with the absolute worst AI generated illustrations, but they've recently added like a new feature where you can toggle on like that you don't want to see AI, which is good because like
Oh,
I don't
okay.
want to
Yeah.
see that.
At least they have that feature.
Yeah.
How is that sprint for everyone? I'm like in a replotting mode, trying to figure stuff out. It's the worst.
Oof. Did you make like any like headroom on that?
Um, yeah. I think I definitely figured out what I need to do for at least the next 2 to 3 chapters. So
Okay.
that's enough to keep going, I guess. I'm also
That's
realizing that I didn't foreshadow things that I should have foreshadowed,
real.
which is the worst. Yeah, I don't know. I have to go backwards and
So how are
figure it
you
out.
doing this? You're just making notes? Like
Yeah, so usually at this point, because my outline is just like out the door, like it's useless at this point. The one that I made like
mhm,
all the way last year.
mhm.
So I usually go back a few chapters and try to figure out what's wrong. And then
Okay.
I like replot, like I just kind of do it by hand or I do it like in a separate document. Um,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know anything about efficiency. I just I just go off
Listen,
vibes, you guys.
if it's working, then I feel
Is
like
it
that is efficient.
working? Yeah. Also, I think Clemmy entered the room. If you guys want to see her,
Kitty,
that is
there she is.
meowing at the door. So I just let her in
What
because
a
she likes to sit
cutie.
on this chair. She has a bed, but she
That's her
doesn't
chair
like.
now, girl. Sorry,
I
Chris. That's
know
her
she
chair.
uses the bed sometimes, but she really likes the chair.
Oh,
So
that's
she's
so
sleepy.
cute.
She's
What
waiting
a
for her next meal.
yeah. Oh, mom, I need to eat lunch.
She had lunch.
I need to eat second lunch.
Yeah. Okay, I'm making a chimera beast of a scene stitched together from 3 different scenes. Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's always tough.
that's an endeavor.
That is an endeavor. I usually have like the opposite issue where I realize the scene is way too long and it needs to be like chopped up.
Ooh,
Yeah.
right. Sometimes I forget that
Um,
that's an option. Like you can chop up your scenes.
I know, right? You don't
Like
actually need to like write everything.
literally.
Who knew? Reached 1,400 words today, but did some of that before the stream. That's a lot. That's
Yeah, that is a
good.
lot of words. Wow. I want to
People
be
that can
you.
write over 1,000 words in a day, guys.
Strong. I could not. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I write so slow. Like, I don't know why I'm pursuing traditional publishing because I'm not cut out for this industry. Like, genuinely.
Real.
I found a better beginning for a really hard chapter, slowly making my way through draft 2 of my book. Oh, nice.
Sick.
Yeah. Draft 2 in a lot of ways is like almost harder than draft 1 because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, someone just closed my door. The ghost.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
I see. I see.
It's
I
probably
see
my
him.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find draft 2 is like so daunting because you're like left with the mess that you created in draft 1.
Not the mess.
Yeah. Um that's good that you figured out a better beginning though.
Yeah,
It
100%.
feels so good when you do that.
God, that's the best feeling ever. Just enjoy that feeling.
Yeah. I know you're like, "Oh
Jealous.
my god, I solved it." Still shaking off the rust from not writing prose in a while, but got 175 words down. Nice. That's better than me. I don't even think I think I cut words out on this stream.
I didn't even write anything, so
yeah. Well, you said you're editing, right?
Yeah, and then I got Canva involved.
Oh yeah, you said you opened Canva.
Yeah, I
love that. Cats do love the strand-on chair. Oh my gosh. There's another cat in my family, belongs to my brother and his partner, and we have another strand-on chair, and she colonized that. So
what? Oh my
god. Working on feedback for a critique partners chapter. It's been a great time. Oh, I love beta reading other people. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't even want to read my own stuff anymore.
Sometimes I forgot that that's kind of where it's at.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I like editing, the thing that I do professionally sometimes. Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you do, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
It's fun. I miss it.
Yes.
2K in a day, but without prose.
What are you writing?
Yeah.
Just like dialogue? Like,
I don't know. Sometimes I do that though.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, I know that you
I write my dialogue first sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I just like to, I don't know. It gives me a skeleton. Okay, I do this full time, but self-published. Always aim to try and do 2,000 words a day if I can, with a first draft in roughly 6 months. That's really good.
I wish that were me, girl.
Yeah. 2,000 words a day. I need to get on that level.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like I need to lock in.
Yeah. Fastest first draft I ever wrote took me 7 months.
The fastest first draft I ever wrote are the ones that I wrote when I was a child and had.
Oh yeah, those are crazy.
Because how the hell did I write? How did I write like 80,000 words in 2 months? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. I don't know. That's some hyperfixation like you wouldn't believe.
This is what I'm saying. I've never felt that level of autism ever again.
You need to achieve that level. I also love beta reading. I miss it. I add prose after. I can't explain it. Oh, but not just dialogue. Okay. I also like add prose after.
This is so interesting.
Yeah.
I love learning people's very different processes because my brain is like, I need everything spelled out for me on the first go. If not, I have no idea what's happening. So I wish I could just write dialogue, but I don't know how I'm supposed to do anything. If I just write dialogue, I don't know what's supposed to happen.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's brains work differently, right? Yeah. Do you write very chronologically? Like you can't jump around?
Oh, completely. And that's I think that's a problem I'm having because it's like, oh, I'm feeling really inspired to write, but I have to write this part that I don't want to write. Then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll write nothing. Like, what the hell?
No, I'm like that. It's like, I don't like this scene. I'm just gonna not write. How
exactly.
And like, then how is suddenly that doing anything? The book isn't written, and you're like, damn it, why is it not being written?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, this is ridiculous. And then it was just my fault the whole time. Like,
we hate to see it. Okay, that we got in a lot of questions, and we got in 40 minutes of work, which is good.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
That's
and I'll make that writing sprint timer. So if you want to keep sprinting without us, it'll be on my channel probably
Rachel
today.
Has timers. And you should unprivate that tavern one because I'm so intrigued now.
What's wrong with me? Like, I need to upload it. Like, I told myself I would do it, and it's been 3 years. Like, girl.
Oh, you made it 3 years ago?
Yeah, like I had 2 of them and they were all scheduled already, and I don't know why I didn't put the other one out. It's probably still in my draft videos. Like, I have 2 like courses that like I made that are just in my drafts. Like, what's wrong with me?
That's crazy. Sometimes you just lose the nerve to post a video. I feel that though. Sometimes I script entire videos and I'm like, I don't want to get canceled. I'm not gonna film this.
But our audiences are so nice though.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like I'm very lucky.
Yes, I'm very lucky. Awesome. Okay, thank you guys for hanging out with us, and maybe we'll do it next month.
Yes, please.
Anything you
It'd be
want to
fun.
plug, Rachel?
Oh God. Besides my channel, no. I mean,
Follow Rachel.
my Instagram. I have Instagram. Hold on. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm just Rachel X Writes. And then I just started my Bulldog's Instagram because I'm trying to make him go viral. So if people could follow him, that would be very helpful. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Well,
Wait, I'm gonna follow him.
He has had an Instagram.
He deserves
But
to
my
be famous.
dad.
He could be
I know
famous, I think.
Exactly. My dad usually was just posting random pictures of him. It's Winston the Bulldog, but I'm trying to make him go viral just as a social experiment to see if I can actually do it. It'd be funny.
I'm gonna follow him. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
You need to get him on TikTok and
yeah, we gained 2 followers today, and I'm pretty sure they're just people that know me. So.
Nice.
Let's
that was your plug. You're like, guys, follow my bulldog. Okay. Yeah, okay. He's so cute though.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Yeah, of course. Actually, I should plug because I just found out yesterday that my US publisher is giving away. There's a Goodreads giveaway for Local Heavens right now. So enter. They're giving away 100 Kindle copies. I think.
Can I answer?
I guess you could if you have a Kindle. I don't know. So you could potentially get a free Kindle copy of the book.
Join the giveaway, guys. This is a great book. Trust me. I read it.
Yeah. She did. Okay.
And
awesome.
Happy almost update, for you.
It's in 4 months, but yeah.
I know. Almost. We're there.
Almost.
We're almost there.
Yay. Okay. Thanks for hanging, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good day, night, morning, afternoon.
A time.
Have a good time. Whatever time it is.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye. I'm waiting for the bye messages.
I know it does. Oh, we're getting them. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.